Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's your host, Arlette, and we are here today with Uche and Gabrielle. Welcome. How are you guys feeling?
Good. Yeah.
I'm good. I
Good, good. Yeah, I'm good as well. So we had the both of you on episode 43 of Pop the
Mhm.
Balloon or Find Love, where you guys ended up matching. Well,
yeah.
then, my final question, is it a yes for you for him? Yeah. Okay. And is it a yes for you for her?
It's yes.
Hey, we got a match! I'll take the mic,
Appreciate you.
and you guys can go on up. Make some noise for them, ladies!
Yeah.
All right. So obviously, there were lots of comments, about the both of you on your episode. So Gabrielle, we'll start with you. There was a trend that everyone just kept commenting, and they were like, a single marriage and family therapist. Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
What were you like? What were your thoughts when you were seeing those comments come up so often?
Oh my gosh. Okay. First of all, marriage and family therapists need love too. Okay. And, I have actually never been married, which means I've also never been divorced. So I might be doing something right. Um, But what I will say when it comes to marriage and family therapy, I really am just more of an emotional translator. So I'm just helping people have conversations as to how their behavior is making someone else feel. So it doesn't necessarily mean that like I have to be married in order to be able to help people have healthy communication. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Y'all heard it from her. Leave her alone.
that's it.
That makes sense.
And now, Uche, so one of your reasons for popping on some of the ladies was tattoos, but then you kept saying, oh, but
All
it's
right.
not a deal breaker, but I had to pick something. So which one was it? Because we were all
Yeah.
confused. Like, do you not like tattoos? Do you
So
like them?
I mean I think there's a way to get tattoos like in a like kind of wear them in like a
Okay.
feminine way. But that's the thing. Like I kind of just like the whole thing for me was like about stepping out
Hmm.
my comfort zone. So as I was kind of going through, and then the thing is, everybody's nervous has like different nervous reactions. So I was pretty nervous. Some people like think I wasn't nervous, but people that know me know I was pretty nervous
Hmm.
out there. So well, the first thing that came to my head was okay, like tattoo, and I had my reason already in my head. So I figured, okay, let me just pop this. Like and from the angle I was standing on, it kind of looked like she had more tattoos than she
Okay.
really had. Cause I saw her right forearm and then like the left kind of like her bicep. So I kind of thought she from the angle I had, it kind of looked like her right arm might have went all the way up. So yeah, I don't know. And I definitely have two tattoos myself, but I don't know. I guess that's a double standard. So a little bit, I guess, of mine too.
Okay. So I guess for you is more so the placement of the tattoo on a woman. Is that what you mean?
Placement, the size, what the tattoo
Okay.
is, you know what I mean? So that's kind of more, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for clearing that up.
Like for a while, I only had a tattoo solely
Uh-huh.
on my chest. So like a lot of people wouldn't know I had a tattoo, and I could go to certain professional environments and not have to show my tattoo. So
Okay, I see. So you're more so like if as
yeah,
long as you're able to like kind of conceal it, that's okay with you with the tattoo situation?
yeah. I mean, I guess I kind of prejudge. It really just depends because, like I said, those like honestly, none of the girls had any tattoos for me that was like I wouldn't be able to like
Yeah,
look
yeah.
past. So
Okay.
I just kind of went off something, and that's kind of what I went off. But
Okay.
yeah, and I don't know what it is, but guys, I hear that a lot from guys. Like for whatever reason, they don't really like a lot of tattoos on women. But
Yeah. No, it's not the first time I've heard it, so I was like just wanted to get a little more clarification because you were kind of like on both ends
yeah,
like, "Okay, what's he really telling us?"
because yeah, it's just the first thing that popped in my head, and that's kind of I was kind of just like it's low key like an outer body experience. You know what I mean? You gotta just like you don't really know how you're gonna react because you don't know what you're walking out to.
Yeah.
So it was the first thing that came to my head, and I'm just like pop. Then after I'm like, yo, why did you really pop it? I'm like, you really didn't have a reason to pop it. Because you even girls I've dated, I'm sure are going to be like, you've
Girls
dated,
with tats.
I have more
Yeah.
tattoos than you've dated me. So yeah. And then I guess it was like a little bit stepping out my comfort zone. So I guess that's me trying something different too. Like, let me stay
I
away
know,
from these
right?
things that I'm typically used to.
And then Gabrielle, were you nervous as well? So Uche mentioned it's a lot of nerves while you're up there. How about for yourself?
Yeah, I was really nervous and like I didn't show like a whole lot of personality. I didn't really like keep the conversation going. I'm just like, okay. like I look back and I was like, oh, there's some cringe moments,
Oh
but yeah,
no.
definitely nerve wracking, especially when Uche came out. So yeah.
Oh. Well, then let's go ahead and dive right into what we're here for then. So, since you guys ended up matching, have you gone on a date?
We did.
Yes.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay. When was the first date? Where'd you guys go?
Right after filming, we yeah.
hmm
Okay.
Yeah.
And where'd you guys go?
There was a Mexican restaurant. I forget the name of it. I
Mhm.
think it was like Ajo Al's, I think. Yeah, so I love that place. My friend always takes me there. So yeah, we went there. The food was really, really
Okay.
good. Hmm
And how was it with the two of you? Like, how was the conversation? Was it flowing? Was it awkward? Like, how was everything?
Uche, do you wanna take it?
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't matter who. I guess who starts, but
Go ahead, Uche. Go
I
ahead.
guess
Go
I mean
ahead.
it got to a point. So I mean, it got to a point as the day kind of continued where I felt like it was
Oh
getting a little
no.
awkward, or like the chemistry might not
Okay.
have been there. So yeah, there were just certain things, but I mean, we both have different perspectives. I feel like of we may have different perspectives of how our experiences. Though I don't know. That's why I don't know who should go
I
first,
mean,
but.
I'm down to hear you. I mean, here's the thing. We did talk about it on the date. That is one
Mhm.
thing that I am grateful for. There were a couple things that Uche did say that was not the greatest. That
Okay.
kind of, I don't know, put me in kind of a weird headspace, I guess.
Mhm.
And Uche did share that I could say this, but so right after we matched, I wanted to, get out of there. And,
Mhm.
I was like, hey, like, you want to get out of here and go eat and things like that. And he had expressed, yeah, like we can, but then I could tell that he wasn't like really trying to leave. And I could tell
Okay.
that there was something that was keeping him there. And he eventually said, well, no offense, but I really connected with the guys when we were in the back. And I really wanted to, like, connect with the boys a little more. And I was like, I mean, I guess. Like, so that kind of threw me off for a little bit because
Uh-huh.
this is not pop the balloon and find friends, it's pop the
Mm.
balloon and
Say it
find
again,
love.
Gabrielle.
And so I was a little bit bugged by that.
Mhm.
And so I did kind of find myself struggling a little bit because I wanted to be respectful, obviously, and like, yeah, like if you've met some connections, I'm not gonna, not let you have that opportunity, but
Right.
also like, how do you expect me to feel about that? So I think that kind of started us off a little bit rocky.
Mhm.
So I don't know, Uche, if you want to like add to that, but yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's where I think we have like differences of opinion because so I mean this was like right after I matched, so I
Okay.
wasn't if it would I feel like it would be different scenarios if it was like completely after filming, but you guys kind of know how the other perspective is where you're kind of walking out, you don't really see anything, you don't even see the set until you walk out. So I only spent about I mean however long my segment was, maybe 15 minutes out there, and that's what all and then I you know what I mean, and then it's like I did connect with the guys in the back, you know what I mean, and we talked about basically connecting afterwards. People that had mutual friends with Stefan. We were both kind of from the same area. He's from New York. I'm from Philly, so we had a couple mutual friends. And he's a lawyer. I'm an engineer. So in general, too, just naturally, like young professionals are always like these are my mind is to network. So it wasn't that saying like let's. I was trying to hang out with them versus not. It's obviously going on a date with her, but it was more about I feel like we had plenty of time to do that. I wanted to kind of watch a couple more people come out too as well, and then from there when filming was done, basically head out. That was kind of where my head mindset was.
Mhm.
But I guess I could see how she could take it that way. I don't know. For me, it was kind of like even I'm not gonna lie. Like the initial thing that came into popped into my head too was like the fact that like I know I didn't get any pops the first round. So when you like are like for us to match immediately for you to try to leave, I almost was thinking like okay, like she's kind of trying to get me out of here because you know
What? Okay,
possibly that's that.
Uche,
I'm just
hold
saying. I'm just
on.
being honest. That's kind of the first thing that came to my head. So.
Uche,
I didn't really
what are
take
you
it as
talking about?
like
Like,
I'm not being intentional. If
hold on.
not, Mhm.
So you're saying she was trying to rush you out of there so that you don't talk to any of the other girls?
I'm not saying this is. I'm not saying this is like. Yeah, I'm not saying this is like what you actually was going through your head. I'm just saying that's the first thing that popped in, like kind of went through my head where I was like, why like what kind of what's the rush? You know what I mean? What's causing us to be like, rushing out of here? Like we did fly all the way in, like we don't live here. Like why not, why rush the experience? We have the rest of the time. Like I don't have anything to do here. I don't know why anybody here. So I did that's like I said, I'm just being honest, that's like kind of the first thing that popped in my head. So I wasn't thinking it was like it wasn't me being intentional or me kind of being here for the wrong reasons. Off my head was like, you know, where Lily, I think I came out third, so I think we had three more people after me. Like I didn't think it was a really big deal for us to finish filming and then then go.
Well, Uche, I would not have matched with you publicly if I would have known that you were not serious about this. And you did share with me a few things in regards to um, kind of maybe having some hesitations as to why we matched. So, can you share that at least in regards to maybe what was having you be so kind of ambivalent with me?
Uh, what do you? I'm trying to think. Is it the alcohol? What do you mean?
Yeah, like, we kind of shared a little bit about like what, because there were certain conversations on the date and things like that where I did feel some of the anxiety, right? Like some of the anxiety that you're sharing now, I did feel that,
Uh-huh.
and you did kind of express some of that. Um, and I just kind of felt like you're pushing me away a lot, like throughout the date. Like it just was like you would say certain things where you're like, yeah, we match, but I don't really know if we, there's so many things to know if we're going to match. And I'm like, I know, that's why we're on a date, but it just kind
Yeah.
of
Well,
felt like you
well,
kept.
you mentioned something about like alcohol, not really want your partner to drink alcohol. So like I think I was just being honest because like me, obviously, like I'm not like a crazy drinker, but I definitely do socially drink. So I mean,
Right.
I literally like the weekend before I was literally just like spent 4 or 5 days of just being drunk like in Nigeria,
Oh.
like doing that in December. So in my head, I'm like, this is like I'm far from somebody that's about to like stop drinking alcohol completely. So
Right. And
these
that's
are some of the things that I was kind of throwing out there, and if I don't know, that's just how I see it. So
yeah.
and then for me, that kind of like I don't want to say that makes me kind of like judge you, but that makes me kind of like makes me think like we're kind of like on a whole different kind of wavelengths. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, you and I did have, we did talk, and you had shared that you feel like you were feeling guilty because you should have popped because you knew that we were not aligned values wise. Because I expressed that in my deal breakers that I didn't want anybody who was, drank excessively or anything like that. And so you had shared with me that you wished you probably should have popped, but you didn't. And so I think that
Right.
that's what was kind of causing you to not really be like super excited to be with me because you knew that you weren't being honest. Um,
I feel like I missed that though. It wasn't about me not being honest. I feel like I definitely missed you mention that because I definitely asked about non-negotiables, but I feel like I definitely missed the alcohol part.
So this kind of brings up a question for me, and it's something that's came up in the comments a bit.
Mhm.
So Uche, it was down to I believe Gabrielle and Vanessa, but Vanessa ended up
Hmm.
popping because she said she felt more of a vibe between the two of you. But people in the comments were like, "Oh, I feel like Uche
Right.
was vibing more with Vanessa." Now, I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking you, were you?
Yeah, I mean, she was well spoken. She was cool. Like I definitely was. Like she definitely took herself out of the running. She
Okay.
definitely was not disqualified at all at that point. So
Okay. Okay. So now is Gabrielle someone you would typically go for?
not typically, I would say.
Okay.
It's definitely like a step out of my comfort zone. But like I said, like I didn't think that was anything wrong with it. I think it was like at least matching was at least worth like going out on a
Going on
date
a
and
date.
exploring it. But I feel like I might have like I guess went too far out of my comfort zone.
Mm.
Um, well, not even too far out of my comfort zone, but I think when we just talked more, like you know what I mean. Like it's I didn't see myself kind of fitting into her the way she when she talked more and more about her partner. I didn't see myself fitting into that mold. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Gabrielle. Do you have something to add on?
I would just say like most of the time that we were together, I just felt like he just didn't like want to be there. And we did have a conversation about that just because of just the things that he was like saying and like
Hmm.
sharing. It was like a lot of this like kind of like I don't know, just saying a lot of stuff that just kind of made me go, okay, do you want to be here? Do you not want to be here? So one thing I did appreciate though is like we did have a conversation on the date where I was like, hey, like, can I tell you how I'm experiencing you right now? It feels like you don't want to be here, and if
Hmm.
you don't want to be here, I'm not gonna hold you. You can go hang out with the boys, okay? Like, go ahead. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. you know?
But that's the thing, like they went out as couples. Like the matches went out. I'm not. It's not even like all the single guys. Like at first, like there was like matches that were going out, so it wasn't even like a solo thing. Like we was gonna be connecting with the other matches. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
wasn't like I said. It wasn't anything where I felt like okay, this is like it's not me not being intentional. Like I still felt like you could do both. You know what I mean? But that was just me.
Yeah,
So do
And then
you
I don't
feel
know.
like
There's also something too that happened earlier. I never. I don't think I brought this up to you, but in the car. And I don't know if I took this the wrong way, but in the car, like I know I was on my phone. We were kind of looking for places to eat at first. You kind of mentioned something to me about me not looking for places to eat because I was like sending a text message. And I don't know, for me that was just like a little bit forward too as well too because you didn't really know. I hadn't been on my phone most of the time we were filming, so in my head I started to like I don't like I said I just started to kind of like I don't want to say perceive you differently, but that was kind of I think I never brought that up, but that was kind of the thing where I that's where it kind of started for me.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like I said, it was literally from the moment that we matched, and I had already expressed. I'm like, hey, like, did you want to get out of here, right? And he was like, yeah, we can. But I could tell that he wanted to watch filming a little while longer. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, like, why don't we watch maybe one more segment of people matching, and then do you want to head out? And he's like, yeah, we can do that. After that happened, I could tell that he wasn't trying to leave, and I'm like, okay, like, you want to keep watching? That's fine. I'm not gonna like be controlling, but okay. And there'd be times, where I would just kind of check in and things like that. And then that was when he was like, no offense, but like, I did like connect with the boys and I want to like connect with the boys. And I'm like, okay, hang out with the boys. And so I was a little bugged by that. And
Yeah.
so my energy, I was bugged. I'm not going to lie. And, after that, I was like, okay, whatever. If he wants to like connect with everybody, that's fine. And get their information, connect with the group, blah, 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 blah. And then
Mhm.
he had said, but multiple times I had expressed like, I want to go out with him. And then
Yeah.
it felt like he kept just being like kind of wishy-washy back and forth. Like, okay, did you want to get with the group? Did you want to get, out with me? And I was like, I expressed to you multiple times that I want to go out with just you.
Mhm.
So when we finally got to the car, I'm already annoyed. Like I'm just like I'm already annoyed. And so when we get into the car, he's literally on his phone, like looking down on his phone. And he had said, like, I don't know any places to eat around here. And I'm like, I don't know any places either. I don't live in Arizona either. So it just felt like there was no real like initiative.
Okay.
And then when he looks on, like, I look down, like, he's looking on his phone, and I look over, and he's like on Instagram. And I'm like, are you on Instagram right now? So I was like, that's it. So realistically, the restaurant that I had him take me to was right next door to my best friend's house because I was like, if this doesn't not work out, I'm literally going to my best friend's house.
Your best friends.
So
Okay.
it just constantly felt like I was like, if you don't want to do this, I'm not gonna like force you to do this type thing.
So when you guys
Um,
were sitting down and like watching the filming, were you guys at least having small conversations there, or was just you guys were just watching?
Hmm.
I was trying to talk to him. Yes, I was trying to talk to him, and it kind of did feel like he, like just short answers and things like that, And so I'm kind of like, okay, well, maybe he's just really into the show, like, I'm just trying
Okay.
to, like not. But yeah, and the thing is like I honestly feel like because he did tell me this, Uche, you did tell me this that you feel like you should have popped and you were feeling guilty because you knew that my values didn't align with yours. Like you knew that and you were fearful
When
of
did he
bringing
tell
me
you that?
in.
On the date?
No, we had a conversation. We had a recent conversation.
Okay.
Just to clarify, like what happened, and so that was that, like kind of just sharing that, like it was my I was fearful of bringing you into that part of my life, and I was like, well, thank you for telling me that because I'm grateful for that. But so it felt like from the moment we left, it was like that was the energy that I was getting. Like I should have popped. I shouldn't have like went out with her. And I'm like trying to give him grace. I'm like, maybe he is nervous or maybe this, maybe that. And I'm also trying to find the balance of like sharing what I want. Like, hey, I would
Mhm.
like to go out with you. And also like, I'm not his girlfriend. So yeah, you can make new friends, like whatever, like you can do whatever you want. But
Yeah.
if you don't want to hang out with me, you don't have to, but I can go hang out with my friends. So it was this constant like kind of back and forth thing. And
Okay.
yeah, I just really felt like he was more wanting to hang out
Hang
with
out
the
with
group
others.
and things like that. Yeah. And I was like,
So so Uche, for you, when did you kind of realize like, dang, I should have popped? Like when did that click in your mind? Was it on set or later on?
It was like probably some point between leaving and like, I mean, not shortly after, I guess I would say.
Okay, so it wasn't right away. Like it took time for you
Yeah,
to get there. Okay.
it wasn't right away, yeah. But like I said, like I didn't consider the fact that like she could have matched with somebody else after.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I feel like I should have popped, because more to give her the opportunity to match with somebody else that she could have probably, lined with more. So I was thinking more of the time, like I said, it's worth exploring. But
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I should have probably considered the fact that she could match with somebody else, and went ahead and pop. So that's kind of what
Okay.
I apologize to her for.
Yeah.
Okay. So now
Yeah, and like
after
it's, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so
oh
sorry.
no, I was gonna ask, so after that date, I know you said you guys had a conversation. So after the date happened, you guys
Hmm.
went about your way.
Hmm.
What happened after that? Like, did you guys talk? Did you text, FaceTime, call? Nothing?
So
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
after the initial date, it felt like, I don't know. I felt like I was really trying to understand where he was coming from. Like, I
okay.
really felt like he was expressing a lot of stuff on the date. Just a lot of, it's a tough thing. The show is tough. Like, there's a lot of pressure. Like, all of that. So I was really just trying to like hear him out. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's hard. I get it. Like, yeah, it was a lot of, whatever. And so I was really just trying to like, I felt like really just show up and support and give him a lot of space. At the end of the date, he did say, well, now I feel like we have a connection, but I feel like you don't feel that way anymore. And I was like, Uche, it's going to depend on what happens after this, to be honest with you. Like, if you
Hmm.
pursue, if you follow up, like, that's going to be on you. So there's that. But because when we were on the date, I did share that it feels like you don't want to be here with me. And then he had shared, like, I said, is there anything that I'm doing that's making you feel like you don't want to be here? And he's like, well, I feel like you're a little strict. And I said, tell me what I'm doing that makes you feel strict. And he said, well, you said you don't want to be with somebody who doesn't like drink excessively. And I'm like, I said that in my deal breakers. So like, I'm not doing anything right now. And I'm having a margarita with you right now. So what am I doing right now? So he did express that. So I said, why don't we literally start over? How about we
Hmm.
cheers and we start over? That was really stressful. Let's just enjoy the date. Like, let's get that behind us and let's do that. And I really felt like on the date, he still couldn't like be
Get
with
past
me
it.
or engage. It was still like ruminating on the stuff, and I just was like, oh my god, it was really tough. And so I after that, he did take me to my friend's house, and I like, yeah, at the end, he did say like, I think we can, maybe there is a connection, but I don't know if you feel the same way. And I was like, it's up to you, like whatever you're
Hmm.
gonna do. And then he ended up like going out with the group that night. I had shared that we could like try to, yeah, which is fine. He can do whatever he wants to.
She just skipped to that part. She just skipped
She
to
had
that
to
part.
throw that in.
I just said it's fine. You're allowed to do whatever you want to do. Like,
Yeah, but what was supposed to happen when I was leaving?
nothing. But but I will say what happened. So where our conversation ended, right? And this is also something we had talked about. My friend and her apartment, she actually has like outside, like in her apartment courtyard, there's like a fireplace by the pool. And so I had said, hey, if you want to try to have a little more of a conversation, we totally can. If you want to get some wine, we can hang out outside by the pool. There's a fire pit. If you want to come back, you're welcome to do that. If you want to go out, you can do that. But I know you said that you felt there's a connection. Here's my here. I'm trying to give you another opportunity.
Hmm.
So he said, okay, I'll do that. He was going to go get a hotel. And then I ended up feeling really, really sick. I actually was sick even on the show. And like sometimes in certain clips, you could hear it in my voice. And so about 30 minutes later, I texted him and I just said, hey, like, I'm actually not feeling really well. So, don't worry about coming back. I'm gonna go to bed. And so he was sweet and was like, hey, like, I hope you feel better, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you have a great night, whatever. And then never really heard from him after that. And so when we did recently connect, I was like, I never heard from you after that. And he's like, well, I
Hmm.
thought you were trying to let me down easy. I was like, what do you mean you thought I was trying to let you? I was always honest. I've always been honest with you. Like, I was like, if I, if I don't want to talk to you, like, I will tell you that. But he said that he thought that me saying I was sick and not, still
Mm.
get up
I
with
can
him that
see.
night.
I
He
can
thought
see.
that I was like blowing him off, but I was like, no, I was always open with you. So that I guess is why you never said anything else to me, Uche, but I don't know.
Okay. Uche.
Yeah, basically, because you gotta add everything that like
Happened
happened
altogether.
before
Yeah.
that point. So I didn't get any signals, or I didn't read any signs that she was sick. So when that kind of between me getting in the car and driving, 20-30 minutes, and now she's texting me she's sick. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, read between the lines was kind of like the whole thing. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm kind of like felt like it was mutual. So And then like the text I sent her, like she said, like, you know, I hope you feel better and stuff like that. She just like hearted it, and
Oh,
you know, she never even verbally said thank you or anything like that too. So the heart too also for me was just like, okay.
like
I
she's
mean,
done with it. That's what you were feeling.
That
I
was the
mean,
last.
that's
That was the
I
end of the
don't. That's
conversation.
how I would read it too. I'm not gonna lie, Gabrielle.
well,
That's
I just feel like thanks. Like I don't know. Like, but also here's what he said. The text was, "Hope you feel better soon. I would have hung out with you tonight."
hmm
It, I don't know. What am I
yeah.
supposed to say to that? Like, cool. Like it wasn't like a let me like I'll check in with you in the
You could have
morning. It
been
was
like,
more.
okay, we can plan something. You know, if you were really
I
interested.
I feel like I did a lot of work. I don't know. I feel like but but at the same time,
Work.
I was feeling really sick. Like I really was. And I was like sitting outside, like was not something that I needed to do after that.
Mm,
But yeah, I just kind of loved it and left it. Like I was like, okay, if he wants to pursue, he can pursue. If he wants to follow back up, like he can. And I just never did, like I never heard from him. So I was like, okay, like, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, like, and again, like with the messaging, like what I'm hearing from him, it's like, did you want to continue to see me? Did you not want to continue to see me? You wish you would have popped, but then you were like, well, she never said anything back to me. Like, it's this constant, like, back and forth. And so I feel like I was always pretty, like, sure that I wanted to try to get to know him. Like, and I
mhm.
felt like I kept trying to make these, like, openings and just, like being very expressive of what I want. And I felt like it was just like, he just said a lot of stuff that just threw me off. And I'm like, I don't know if you want to be here. Like, so
Okay.
I don't know. It was tough.
That's the thing. That's the way I communicate. I'm kind of blunt. I'm kind of cut and dry. Sometimes I'm too kind of straightforward. But if you tell me something like a non-negotiable or something you don't want, I'm gonna be like, yo, this is what I do. You know what I mean? So
hmm
Yeah.
she took that as like me kind of just I guess kind of like self-sabotaging, but for me that's just like me being real. So, you know, this is where we're at.
Okay. And now, so you guys said you had a conversation recently. What was that for? Like, you guys just wanted to catch up, or what happened?
I personally wanted closure because I was like, hey, I literally never did hear from you again. So
Okay.
I want to know, like, was there any reason why like you didn't follow up? Like what was that about type thing? And he was like, well, I thought you blew me off because
Okay.
you
So you
you
reached out to him.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
just to be like, what was the reason why, And so yeah, it was more like he's like, I thought you like blew me off. And I was like, I would have, if I didn't want to talk to you, I literally would have told you that. Like, I feel like I've been
hmm
very clear about my values, what I'm looking for. And so I would have told you that, like, hey, this isn't working out.
And Uche,
So,
were you shocked to hear from her when she reached out?
Mm, Not necessarily
Okay.
because I mean, I feel like we probably were definitely due for a conversation. So I feel like that did you probably came in more intentional and like, you know, for me I was kind of just still taking everything in versus you being like, okay, this is already old to me. Let's get right to it. You know, in terms of being intentional. So
well, it's not that it was old to me. Again, like, you have to think about it, Uche. Like, I'm not trying to match with someone publicly and have people in my dating life just to be like, oh well, like I'm trying to be intentional. And so like just to feel like you were really careless with it, that's kind of how I felt. Like I just didn't feel like you handled me with care. I felt like just from the comments and, just like even, yeah, some of the things that you said, yeah, you may be blunt, but it's also rude. Like some of the things that you would just say, it just didn't make me feel like you were interested or like you wanted to be there. So I felt like I was just trying to give you space to express yourself, but it did feel like it was like pushing me away, or even comments like, yeah, we matched, but like, I don't know, there's so many things to make sure that we can match, or, you just had to make a decision. And then I'm like, so did you not want to match with me? Like, I don't know. How am I supposed to
I'm
take
saying
that?
that more in terms of like, yeah, we matched, but like, there's still a lot of things that still have to align. You know what I mean? I'm
And
just
and you
that's basically
never
what I was getting
ever
at.
really showed up on the date to allow any of that chemistry to even be, because you were so in your head. You were so consumed with the process. And so I think that that was what was really tough. I gave you a lot of
Well,
grace, and I did say that it is a lot. It is a lot of work, and it is tough, and there's it's a lot of pressure. I get it, but I didn't feel that you showed a lot of like care towards me personally.
Do you have anything to
yeah,
add,
nah,
Uche?
I'm sorry you feel that way, but I yeah, I mean, I'm sorry you feel that way, but like for me, it's just And you have to just take into account everything. So I think like multiple things played a factor, and that's the whole thing with this whole experience. Like everybody's decision in that room affects the next thing that happens.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I hope it was like still a positive experience for you. I know I kind of got that same effect too. Obviously, we matched publicly, so I had family from Nigeria reaching out to me,
Not
telling me congrats,
Nigeria.
like literally. So,
It's a big
so
deal. It's a big
Wow.
yeah, and that's the thing.
deal.
I kind of slept on some of that stuff too. I don't think I really was fully aware of like the
Mhm.
magnitude of everything in the show and stuff. So
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, I'm really bummed it didn't work out because people were really rooting for y'all. They were like, I love that match, like, all that stuff. But unfortunately, we got to let the people down. But any projects either one of you are working on that, people could be on the lookout for, help you out by supporting you, anything? Let's start with you, Uche.
for me, so I got a couple events coming up in Dallas. So I guess if you are in the area and are into Afro beats, you definitely follow me on my Instagram and so yeah, look out for some events coming out.
Okay. All right, cool, cool. And now, Gabrielle, what about for you?
Yeah, I recently wrote a book. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Becoming a Gold Digger, Discovering the Hidden Treasures Within. It combines biblical and mental health principles to help you become mentally and emotionally healthy. And so, yeah, you can get that on my Instagram.
All right. Well,
That title is like clickbait, right?
Yeah,
I haven't.
yes,
All
it is.
right.
yes,
It
Uche, Uche,
is.
you, the least you could do, Uche, is buy my book, okay?
Yo, I almost bought it before this. I almost bought it before this.
Okay, all
Because I'm
right,
not gonna
then
lie,
so
my initial reaction when I went on your Instagram and saw that I just remembered like the black cover, gold writing. All I remember was gold. All I
Yes.
really like took it was Gold Digger. So
yeah.
I was like shocked at first. Then I kind of looked more into it. I'm like, okay, it's like some kind of like
Yeah,
satire slash
the
clickbait.
title was there to grab your attention and be like,
Oh,
"What?"
that's right.
Got to be careful with that though.
That's right. That bait and switch. So yeah, thanks, Uche. I would appreciate the support. I do want to say though that one thing I will say is I do appreciate that Uche and I were able to have some conversations.
Yeah,
And I
that's
do
good.
appreciate that he like was able to own like his stuff. Like there were moments where I really do feel like he was able to own it. And I do accept your apology, Uche. And I apologize if you felt that I was being really strict on you, or that my values are
it
too high, whatever. But yeah,
it's okay to be strict. I'm sure there's a guy that what I'm saying that's already living his life like that. That's how I kind of look at
Mhm.
it. So
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
All
all.
right, guys. Well, thank you both for coming on today. It was definitely a pleasure having you on and speaking with you both. And everyone at home, thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you all next time.